Today, I am going to talk about when mama hen hatches her chicks in the coop, should I separate them? Let's go. Welcome to Becky's Homestead. When your mama hen hatches out some baby chicks, you might wonder if you should leave them in the coop with the rest of the chickens. You might be thinking, well, will the little itty bitty babies survive in there with the other chickens? Will the mama be able to take care of them when she's mixed in there with all the others? And you just might be worried about that, if she has the ability to take care of her babies. There's a few things to consider. One, of course, always when it comes to chickens is the coop plenty big enough? The coop needs to be plenty big enough, not overcrowded. An overcrowded coop just causes so many problems in a lot of different areas. So that's number one to consider. Is your coop big enough? Number two is you have to make sure you don't have any water bowls that are deep, because those little baby chicks will get in that deep water bowl and they can't get out. Their little fuzz gets wet and they quickly sink and drown. So you're gonna have water bowls that are very shallow, like a pie plate. Just picture a pie plate, So you can go get some tin or glass pie plates at the thrift store. Those work perfect. Or you might have some in the house. A couple of those. You need one on each end. And then food-wise, you have to sprinkle food on the floor of the coop because the little babies will pick and scratch. If you have just one bowl of food as normal or whatever, all the big chickens might crowd in there, and then the little ones won't, they're not going to fight their way in there. They're just too little. So by just scattering the food all over the floor of the coop, the little babies will pick around and eat, and you'll be sure they'll get some that way. Another thing is people might consider okay, it's just not going to work. My coop isn't big enough. It's just too small, too crowded, and I just don't feel like it's working and they're going to be safe. So your next question is, should I take just the babies out and then keep them somewhere, keep them under a light in a tub or whatever and just raise the babies up? My answer to that is no. Don't do that, because the benefit of mama raising her own babies is huge. They will just be better chickens if you let mama do it. She's very attached to her babies. If you think about it, she works very hard to sit on them and hatch them out. And the first thing they see and feel is mama. And she sees them right away, and there's a very, very strong bond between them. So for sure, don't separate them. I know in the stores you might say, well, I buy little tiny chickie babies in the store. They don't have a mama. But here's the difference. Those chickens in the store that you see never had a mama. Somebody just took the eggs and hatched those eggs in an incubator. So it isn't like, oh, the poor little babies were ripped from their mother. No, they never had a mama. They never were hatched and saw mama. They were just hatched in an incubator and just saw other little chickie babies. They never got a chance to bond with a mama. So that's the difference. When your hen hatches her babies, that bond is there and you really don't want to break it. It's just such a benefit. Also, there's no bigger joy and just cuteness than watching a mother hen with her little babies, running around taking care of them. And you can just watch her. She's teaching them everything. She teaches them what to eat, where to scratch along the edge. When they hear a hawk, she'll teach them to hide on the edge away from the hawk so they're not in the field, She teaches them so much stuff. So it's really, really important if you can just leave mama and babies together. Okay, so another point I want to make is, like I said, if you feel like it's just not working, your coop isn't big enough and you feel like just for the safety of the little babies, because you love them so much, you want to get them out of there, take mama with them. You have to pull mama and the chickie babies out together, leave them together. So you can do that. It can work and it won't be a catastrophe, Just get a big enough tub, like a pretty big tub, put the babies in there and put mama in there with them. She's still gonna take care of the babies. And it's really odd because I've noticed through the years that when you leave mama with the babies, those babies grow even faster than the ones you buy at the feed store. It's amazing how quickly they grow. And I guess just getting the love and care from their mother, they just grow faster. They're just like healthier, more vibrant, more with it. So you won't have to leave them in the tub too long. You're gonna have to have some kind of a little, in-betweener coop, which I call the flip coop. And there'll be a link to that below, just so you can check it out in case you wanna get that or build that. So that's a perfect coop for a situation like this. If you wanna pull mama out with her babies and then keep them together away from all the other chickens. I do have to point out one thing though. If you do that, it will work and all will be well. Although, you cannot just, like the babies reach, let's just say they're fully feathered, they're a little bigger, and you're like, okay, they survived, I'm gonna put them back in the coop. That doesn't work as easy as you think. The babies are just not gonna be reintroduced easily. So you're gonna have to be very, very diligent if you try that. Or you might have to just leave them separated until the babies are almost adult size. Don't worry about how old they are, if they're almost adult size, then you can try reintroducing them. One good way to reintroduce chickens to a flock is if you can let them all free range together. They will kind of hang out and get to know each other in the yard, and then you could possibly, at night, get them all in the coop together. Like I would like to let them free range in the yard for maybe a week together so they all get to know each other, and you could like stand there and feed them all together so they intermingle. And then after a week of that, then you can put them in the coop at night with the other chickens. Like try it that way, see how that works. Obviously mama's gonna hatch her little chicks in the nest box. And most people, including myself, I always have the nest boxes between 1 foot and 2 feet off the ground, the bottom of the nest box. So after mama hatches the babies out, and that takes like maybe 1 to 3 days for them all to hatch, she will know when it's time and they'll all get out of that nest box. They'll like jump down. So they'll all be on the ground now. The key is they're not gonna jump back in it at night because the babies are too small. So what you have to do is just get a little pile of hay or whatever, and just get it on the ground somewhere kind of near the nest box where they hatched out. I always try to go under it right there, you know what I mean, and just make a little nest. And that's where her and the babies will sleep from now on, just so you know that. They will not get back in the nest box because the little ones can't jump up there yet. And then another thing I would like to mention, if you keep them in the coop with the other chickens and it all works fine, is make sure you get the chick grit. It's ground up extra small. It's smaller than ordinary just crushed oyster shells, which works good for grit and adds calcium to their diet, and the big ones can eat it. But when they're teeny weeny little ones, you do need just maybe a month or 2 of feeding the little chick grit that is ground up even smaller. And I find that at Tractor Supply, they do carry that. I think, you can look at other feed stores, but just off the top of my head, for a fact, I know they carry it. And, they'll need that. It'll help them digest their food and stuff, of course. I wrote a chicken book to try to help people because chickens are so much fun. But I must admit, I get just thousands of questions about chickens because, they are like funny birds and there's just a lot to learn about them. So if you're interested in my book and you want to get chickens, the link is down below. You can check that out. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.